Today we want to talk about what is going on with the Kisii. It would appear that there's some kind of civil war or genocide going on with the Kisii. And I'm saying this because I have been looking at some data concerning the level of murders and bizarre deaths that occur in Kenya, and the amount of tragedy afflicting specifically the Kisii people is way off the charts. It's absolutely strange. So I thought I should just take a deep dive into what is going on with the Kisii. Now we know that tragedy occurs to every group of people in the world. It's not unique to any one group. But the incidents of bizarre, unusual, and horrific deaths that occur towards people of Kisii origin is very suspicious. So, I'm going to read for you a few incidences, and then you tell me, what do you think is going on? Is there something going on, or am I just imagining things? Between May 2021 and May 2022, police in Kenya reported 126 murders in Kisii County, which is extremely high for such a small county. In November 2022, a Kisii man killed his 74-year-old mother over a plate of ugali. And this was a brutal, horrific killing. Earlier in 2022, a man killed his newlywed bride by strangling her and then jumped into a river in an attempt to commit suicide in Kisii. It is not known why he did that. Later on in the year, a man in Kisii was murdered by his own relatives, who then threw his body inside a pit latrine. They hacked him to death. In June of 2022, a young Kisii man who was vying with the ODM political party went to Kisii in the ODM primaries. Well, he was captured by his fellow Kisii and brutally killed. He was only 38. In 2021, a Kisii man who lives in the United States was vacationing in Kisii when he was captured by his fellow Kisii, who then brutally hacked him to death, beheading his body and stealing his head. It is not known at this point whether his head has ever been found. In 2022, a medical doctor hired a hitman to kill his wife and his alleged wife's lover. He was a Kisii man. He was later on arrested by the police, who identified that the alleged lover to his wife was also a Kisii doctor. In 2021, 4 elderly Kisii women were attacked by a mob and brutally hacked to death over allegations of witchcraft. In March of 2020, a Kisii man went home and discovered his brother was having sex with his own mother. He brutally attacked them and killed the brother. It was later on revealed in court that his mother had been having a long sexual affair with her own son. In a strange incident, an accountant working in a supermarket in Kisii stabbed and killed her fellow accountant using a knife. He died on the spot. In 2017, a Kisii man went out on a date with a lady he met on Facebook, and he immediately murdered that lady on their first date. No reason was given. And in 2019, a Kisii man choked to death while eating raw meat. In the same year, a Kisii man strangled his pregnant wife and threw her body into a pit latrine. And in December 2021, an entire Kisii family perished in a horrific road accident, which was considered to be very bizarre and was national news. It is also thought that the first serial killer in Kenya was a Kisii man. When it comes to the Kisii diaspora, tragedy and bizarre death appears to follow them all over the world. Look at these stories. In October 2022, in a very bizarre incident, a Kisii woman in North Carolina was brutally murdered by being stabbed to death. In 2018, a very successful Kisii man who owned businesses in New Jersey, America, shot and killed his Kisii wife in their home in New Jersey. He later on turned the gun on himself and blew his brains out, leaving 3 children as complete orphans and many businesses without an owner. This was very bizarre. In 2016, a very strange incident happened to a Kisii family living in Dallas, Texas. This was a young Kisii family. They had small children. So they invited one of the parents to come and help babysit these children. So the grandmother left Kenya, went to America to help babysit the children. One day, while she was babysitting the children, the youngest child, who was 3 years old, jumped out of the balcony from the apartment building and died immediately afterward. Fearing that the police would arrest the grandmother, the young family, still in tears, organized for her to flee America to escape arrest. The police came and did the investigation, and it was discovered that this was a very unusual event, that a small 3-year-old child would jump out of a balcony in the presence of a babysitter. Very, very bizarre and very tragic. And in 2019, a Kisii grandmother visiting the United States to see her children collapsed and died at the airport upon arrival. She never got to see her children. In what is considered a very unusual and bizarre death, a young Kisii lady was swimming in Canada. While she was swimming, she was filming herself on Facebook Live. She drowned while people were watching her. Very unusual. In November 2020, a Kisii lady fell off a balcony in Lebanon and died. She had run off with a man without informing her parents. She was only 22. It is not known what pushed her off the balcony. And in February of 2022, in what Texas police described as a very unusual event, a Kisii woman was hit by a trailer on a freeway in the United States. The police later on discovered that she was driving along the freeway, and for unknown reasons, she stopped suddenly on the freeway, jumped out of her car, and started running wildly on the freeway. It is at this point that a trailer hit her and dragged her body underneath for quite some distance. Her mutilated body was recovered, and the police did not know how to explain it. Now, going through all those incidences, it can be seen that something is going on in Kisii land. The outbreak of murder and bizarre death is on an all-time high, and it appears that the people in the diaspora are specifically targeted for bizarre and unusual death. So the undercurrent that remains unsaid is the practice of witchcraft. It appears that the issue of jealousy is so extreme in Kisii land that they keep on putting hexes on each other. Now, many people want to dismiss the occult. They want to pretend that there is nothing beyond the veil. But there has to be something beyond the veil. Because how do you explain all these strange and unusual things happening to the same people over and over and over again? So that if a Kisii person prospers, chances are that something really evil may happen to them, especially if their neighbors or their friends get to discover that they are prospering. And in fact, in many situations, it would appear that the most deadly enemy of a Kisii person is their own family, whether extended or close family. So I don't know what to make of it, but it has been coming up again and again and again that something is going on in Kisii land. Maybe the people who are Kisiis can explain to us why is it that unusual and bizarre, horrific deaths keep on happening to people of Kisii origin. And for all those who've been killed that way, may they rest in peace. And if there are any solutions, well, I'd like to know what the solution is. How do we stop the Kisii from wiping each other out?